Hello, everyone. This is Weston Means, San Francisco Bay Area Realtor, here again for your market update for December 2022. As always, we're looking into the numbers for November 2022, so the month before. This month, we're going to do things a little bit differently. The California Association of Realtors has released these new reports that just go into all the numbers. Before, I was just handpicking all the data, and now they just have a one-page sheet that kind of just lays everything out. So we're going to go into each of the counties, obviously Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, San Francisco, San Mateo, and Santa Clara. And I'm just going to go county by county and just break down some of the major numbers. Right now, we're just going to look at the average days on market, so how long a listing is taking to sell, and then what percentage of buyers in the market are still paying over list price. And then we're going to talk about, the percentage of sellers who have reduced their prices in the month of November this year. So let's start with Alameda County. Average days on market for a listing to sell is 44 days. That's 159% more than last year. So about 59% more days it's taken to sell a listing in Alameda County from last year. Okay, now buyers. 49% of buyers paid over list price this year, which is 38% less than last year, because last year almost all buyers were paying over list price. So about half of the buyers in the market are still paying over list price last month. 36% of sellers in Alameda County have reduced their prices. That's up 22% from last year, which is not surprising because I've seen a ton more price reductions in the market in comparison to last year. Now moving on to Contra Costa County, the average days on market it takes to sell a listing there was 48 days in November. That's 53% more than last year. 34% of buyers have paid over list price in this market, which is 41% less than last year. Again, not a surprise. 43% of sellers have reduced their prices in Contra Costa County, which is 25% more than last year. So last year there were less than 20% of sellers were reducing their prices, and now 43% of sellers are reducing their prices. So that's almost half of the sellers in the market. Now let's move on to Marin County. In Marin County, the average listing is taking 64 days to sell. That's 64% of last year's number, so it's actually taking less days to sell a listing in Marin, which is kind of surprising. But Marin is kind of like a specialized market. There's a lot of expensive homes out there, so the more wealthy folks are making moves right now. 31% of buyers paid over list price in November, and that's 30% less than last year. So about 61% of buyers last year paid over list price, and now it's 31%. 47% of sellers reduced their prices in Marin County last month, which is 21% more than last year. So about half of the sellers in Marin County are reducing their prices right now. And obviously this is just because the rates have shot up. A lot of buyers have dropped out of the market. There's a lot of fear in the market right now. There's a lot of people are talking about the recession. I've heard a wide range of different projections. Some people are saying this is going to be the worst recession yet, like maybe even worse than 2008. Some people are saying it's going to be softer than that, but it's still going to last a few years. And then I hear a lot of realtors and other people that have an interest in the recession not lasting long saying that it's only going to take 6 months or something like that. So my answer is, honestly, it just depends on so many different factors that there's no real way you can actually project what is going to happen. My feeling is prices will continue to go down. Really what happens is there's kind of like a delay in what happens. So the rates shot up in June, and then it took 2-3 months for prices to actually come down. Recently, I think last month, the moratoriums were lifted. So a lot of folks that didn't have to pay their mortgages, and then also renters that weren't paying their rent, they no longer had those moratoriums that were allowing them not to pay. So now that that's ended, I think in a few months, we're gonna start to see the effects of that. A lot of those property owners that couldn't pay their mortgages are going to have to either foreclose or, short sell and things like that. So I think we're going to see an uptick in inventory very soon. Now let's move on to San Francisco County. Last month, the average listing in San Francisco County took 61 days to sell. That's an increase of 15% from last year. So it's actually not taking that much longer for a listing to sell in San Francisco. 59% of buyers paid over list price. That's 22% less than last year. Not surprising. So actually more than half of the buyers in San Francisco are still paying over list price. That's almost 60%. 30% of sellers have reduced their prices in San Francisco County. That's 8% more than last year. So actually, it's not as stark of a change from last year in San Francisco County. A lot of the listings are, 30% of the listings are still being reduced, but that's only 8% more than last year. So last year was 22%, now it's 30%. Now moving on to San Mateo County, the average time it takes for a listing to sell in San Mateo County was 51 days in November. That's 29% more than last year. 30% of buyers paid over list price. That's 46% less than last year. So last year it was 76%. That's more than 3/4 of the buyers in the market last year paid over list price. Now it's only 30%. 40% of sellers have reduced their prices in San Mateo County. That's 21% more than last year. So last year it was 19%, now it's 40%. So, in a lot of these counties, big things are happening. A lot more listings are being reduced. Quite a few less buyers are having to pay over list price, and it's taking longer for the average listing to sell. Here's a really big one. In Santa Clara County, the average days it took for a listing to sell in November was 44 days, and that's 340% more than last year. So the average days on market has more than tripled from last year, which is crazy when you think about it. Things were just moving really fast in Santa Clara County last year. It consistently made the top of the list of the most expensive places to live in pretty much the world last year, and now it takes more than 3 times what it did last year to sell a listing in Santa Clara County. 37% of buyers paid over list price this November. That's 45% less than last year. So that's, 82% of buyers paid over list price last year in Santa Clara County. And now it's only 37. 41% of sellers have reduced their prices in Santa Clara County last month. That's 25% more than last year. So, kind of similar to some of the other counties, but the average days on market it's taken to sell a listing there has shot way up from last year. So that means competition is significantly lower in Santa Clara County than it was last year. And that wraps up our analysis of these counties. I know it's very close to the holidays. I'm actually filming this on December 23rd, but this should come out next week. I want to wish all you guys a beautiful holiday weekend and also a happy new year. Hope everyone has a great time with your family, and I will check in with you soon. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye guys.